Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. This is your host, Andy Curry. Welcome to the show today. People, I am fired up because I have on the line with me Holly Duckworth, who has been speaking professionally for 5 years. Her content she speaks on is really interesting. It's on visualization and envisioning for CEOs and executives. Couldn't we all use some of that? She speaks primarily in the U.S. She is based out of the great state of Colorado in Denver. I say it's a great state because yours truly lives there as well. And she has written a book called Ctrl+Alt+Believe, Reboot Your Association for Success, and she has co-authored several other books. So, Holly, welcome to the program.
Hi, Andy. It's great to be with you. Thanks for inviting me to be a part.
Well, we are very happy to have you with us, Holly. Tell us about your speaking business. What are you teaching people, and how are you helping them?
Well, Andy, and it's an exciting time to be a part of the speaking business. My business is actually shifting with what I believe is the consciousness in business. I've had the honor and privilege of speaking with executive leaders and volunteer leaders for the last 5 years on this idea of volunteerism. How do we recruit, retain, and maintain volunteers? And what I have noticed is when I stand on a stage and I ask those executives, what's the vision statement or the mission statement of your organization? Less than 1% of any one of those executive leaders can actually tell me what their vision statement is. And there's a few often that know where to find it. They can click real quick on their devices and read it off. Our vision and mission is to save the planet, or whatever it is.
Right.
But what I have come to learn is that vision and mission statement, when we really bring it to life from our head and from our heart, we're really able to create what I call a spirit strategy. And so now I'm really renewing my brand around this idea of co-creating clear vision and higher profits with a very deliberate and intentional focus on expanding my marketplace, not just from the nonprofit and trade association space, but offering these skills in visioning and visualization to CEOs and executives around the world.
Okay. Now, who was the last group you spoke to?
Great question, Andy. The last group that I spoke with was the American Society of Interior Designers. So these are the professionals who are dedicated to creating human spaces and making sure that we connect to those spaces in an awesome way. They design hospitals and homes, commercial buildings. I was the opening keynote for their chapter leadership conference in Boston. So we had a lot of fun with this idea of freedom, and I threw in my word, freedom and faith. So we talked about kind of the nuances of leadership today, that instead of coming on board and choosing to be a manager, that leadership today is really about softening your approach and co-creation. My vision statement is really around this idea of co-creation. And when I use that word, I talk about co-creating with yourself, co-creating with that intuition inside of you, and co-creating with your team. These people, being designers, of course, are committed to creativity and often have a really fun idea of how creativity should work. So I helped them visualize with their feeling nature how they wanted to evolve and change their association, be it membership recruitment, participation, or marketing in a venture program. It was a great fun time with some creative people in Boston.
That sounds fun. When you're talking about visualization, you said you helped them with visualization. What is it that you're doing there exactly?
So often in personal self-help or personal development, we focus in on creating something like a vision board, or we might create a business plan. And those are just the pictures of what we want to create in our lives. As I work to shift the consciousness of business through my work, I take that visioning process one step farther into visualization. And visualization is the combination of the mental images with the feeling nature of our being, or of our heart and our soul. So I take personal development and bring it into business. So once we take, say, a group of 5 or 10 or 15 executives into a room, we might move into a visualization process or meditation. We'll do some breathing activities, help them connect into the why of why they love working for their organization. And in the case of that case study, the Society of Interior Designers, we help them get into that passion, that excitement for the organization they were volunteering for. And then take those business plans or those pictures. I want 30 people at my next meeting. And we help them feel into, so you could dream the highest and best. What would that meeting feel like, smell like, taste like, sound like? What would it really, truly be to come alive? And I do this process. It's about 6 or 8 questions, usually takes about an hour, for organizations over their entire business plan. Because once we can tap into our feeling nature, we're able to not just vision a future, but visualize it and bring that visualization to life, because now we're in harmony with the power of the universe, which is higher and greater than just our minds in a business plan.
I understand the importance of visualization. I've read a lot about it, studied it, but I'm sure there's people who poo-poo it. Have you run across people like that?
Oh, there's people who poo-poo all types of things all over the world. Absolutely. I've definitely run into those people. And as a speaker, you learn very quickly what is yours to do and what is yours not to do. I had a girlfriend tell me the other day, she says, Holly, when you get on social media and somebody poo-poos your ideas, you bless them, you bid them bye-bye, and it was bless, block, and bye-bye. And I think that's a really great way to look at life. We bless them, like, if this visualization technique isn't for the work that you're doing, I bless you, I block you, and bye-bye, because we're all in a different place in our own consciousness. But what I know is the most successful businesses in the world, Apple, Google, and even small businesses, are utilizing this technique of meditation, affirmation, and visualization, and seeing great results with it. So it's really my honor to help them shift their consciousness within the overall framework of the organization. Self-help work, we've gotten really good at doing our self-help work. Now it's time to bring that individual work into our collective consciousness.
Well, I would agree. Anytime you step out and get public with anything, you're always going to be met with criticism, or critics anyway, because people always have their own thoughts on something. So now let's talk about your book for a second here. Ctrl+Alt+Believe, Reboot Your Association for Success. That's a great title, Ctrl+Alt+Believe, which is a, what would you call it, an analogy for rebooting your computer, but you're rebooting your thinking, correct? Is that what your book is kind of leaning toward?
Exactly. New thoughts, new beliefs, and new actions. So the book was a 4-year labor of love. Sometimes even the best of us in positive thinking have a little resistance to doing things. It took me 4 years, and for the first 3 years, the book was Ctrl+Alt+Delete. Delete, that's obviously the magic keystroke, or was, to reboot our PCs in the early days. And over coffee a few years ago, a girlfriend said, Ctrl+Alt+Believe. That's brilliant. I go, that's not what I said. I said delete. And she goes, Holly, listen to me. You said Ctrl+Alt+Believe. And I laughed. She says, all the work you do, and I have a whole chapter in the book around beliefs 1.0 versus beliefs 2.0, and we work through some deep analysis of what we believe in our organizations and associations. And so the new title was born, Ctrl+Alt+Believe, Reboot Your Association for Success. And I'm working on the second one now, which is Ctrl+Alt+Believe, Spirit Strategies for Business. Where you start is where you end up. And the book gives us some tips to think about. Each chapter is designed with an inspirational quotes, stories and case studies of groups who've utilized my work. And then it wraps up each chapter with some questions to ask and homework to do with your team. So if you're looking for that level of interaction, I invite you to pick up the book or drop me an email. I'd be happy to provide your listeners just a free chapter of the book as my gift to them.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for that. You said the book has quotes. I love quotes. What's your favorite quote?
Oh my gosh, Andy, that's like asking me what my favorite cookie is. There's just too many good ones to go with. Let me get my screensaver quote here if I can get it to come up real quick. It's an Ernest Holmes quote. Hopefully I can get it to come up real quick. It's on spirituality in business, which is, again, my niche is evolving, where I'm feeling a lot of power, and it's by Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind. If you wish to know the truth about your business or your profession, know that it is the activity of good. It is the activity of your partnership with the infinite. And, my work is really around spirit. I don't want to go into that world of religion, a la Buddha, Jesus, universe, whatever, but recognizing that the work that we all get to do, whether we're a Starbucks barista or a speaker on a stage, is really a partnership with that co-creative infinite. I love that quote.
That is neat. My favorite quote is by Maya Lin, and that is, "It takes resistance to fly." I love that quote.
That's good.
Now, you'd mentioned some case studies in your book. Give us an example of one of them.
Well, people tell me I don't tell my case studies enough. So thanks for asking the question, Andy. I hate this one, but I'll share my favorite one is I worked with a statewide bank, and the CEO came to me. He'd seen me speak actually to a nonprofit in his community. Said, "I love you. I love the principles that you stand for. Would you be willing to work with our bank?" And so we brought in not only their executive leadership, but we brought in kind of their a hybrid, we call them a co-creation team. They represented every level of the bank, brought them in for a day-and-a-half retreat where we did this visualization and meditation process. And over the course of the next year, we worked on new thoughts. What were they currently thinking about their bank? They were on the list from the federal government of banks most likely to fail.
Ooh.
And we worked with them to write new affirmations, new positive thought statements, created a book club for them, gave them the opportunity so we worked on their thoughts first, because those were the seeds of the choices they had to make. Were they going to continue to go on the road and close, or were they going to start thinking more positive, and how high did they want to go? And then we worked for a few months on their beliefs and worked through this belief 1.0, 2.0 activity, and started to include the customers in this. If this bank in this state was going to survive, they needed everybody to really power up their beliefs in it. And then lastly, we moved to new action. So we created them a new vision statement or visualization statement, which then became their brand statement and marketing throughout the organization, a new customer service philosophy. And I'm happy to say it was about 18 months later, the CEO actually flew to Denver to tell me that their bank had just been named by Investment Banker magazine as one of the top banks to invest in if you were in that marketplace. So great case study of how faith and affirmations, positive thinking, and a spirit strategy can change the work that everybody in your organization does and create higher levels of success.
That's awesome. So within a year and a half, everything changed.
The work that they did inspired greatness, and everything changed within the organization.
Wow, that's neat. Well, Holly, how can people get a hold of you should they want to hear you speak or know more? HollyDuckworth.com. It's just traditional spelling of Holly, Holly, and then Duckworth, DuckWorth.com. Okay, Holly. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a peek into your speaking business and the things you're teaching people. That was really a lot of fun.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.